Hi all, welcome to one another episode of Let's Talk FPL Strategy. In this episode, we will see about how my team performed in Game Week 10, then about my transfers for Game Week 11, then the top five transfer in and a transfer out of Game Week 11, and then we will be seeing all the 10 fixtures who will be the good players who can pick for that, as well as what is the predicted scoreline from my side. And then finally, I will reveal my team for Game Week 11. And if you like my video, please do share and if you want to repeatedly listen to my videos whenever I post them, please do subscribe and press the bell icon too. Thanks for the subscription and for the likes. With that, we'll go into this week's episode. So this week, James not starting was a surprise, but with Potter, we'll have to be little bit careful going forward. Potter is like the next step, and he did the same with Brighton. Everybody thought Brighton was because of the need he had to do that, but looks he's under Pep. So Chelsea efforts are going to be little bit tricky going forward in the FPL. But a very good game week relatively, with Mitrovic not starting, I got Andrea's points. I would have been happy with IOB points, but I didn't expect IOB to score a goal last week. So that's why I had him as a second sub. But I got a just above average, but average was like 58 for this week. I got 62, mainly thanks to Cancelo's points and the Trippier point too. Holland, you could say it was a failure this week considering how he was performing recently, but still a one goal return for a captain is a good result. So I ended up with 62 with a little bit of green arrow. Continuous green arrow is really good this season with the way the points are spread out just 10 or 20 points your ranking would be completely different. So don't worry about the rankings now. Just concentrate on your team and build your team value. So that being said, I have two major issues in this current team. Mitrovic and James are both 75% fit to play according to the FPL official side, but then we never know when they will start playing. And I also have four players, Saliba, Cancelo, KDB, and Holland, who have blank game week in game week 12. So I had to use both my free transfer this week to replace James and Mitrovic because I cannot go with injured players as I will be benching three players and I'll be transferring one of the Arsenal and City players in game week 12, whom if needed I can bring it back in the very next game week. So that's the strategy I'm going. So I have moved James to Eric Dyer, and then I have transferred Mitrovic to Tony. Both have good fixtures, and both are in good form relatively. Also, even though Tony had some top fixtures in between, and he stopped scoring after that. But I think with an easy fixture this week, I expect a turnaround in Brentford's form. So those are my two form changes, Mitrovic and Reece James out, and Tony and Eric Dyer in my team. The top five transfers are Foden, Trippier, Trossard, Cancelo, and Martinelli. So this clearly says there are a lot of new players in FPL as well as this season. People are going to gain the players who are scoring big in the previous game week. So the reason being Martinelli, Foden, Cancelo, they don't have a game after the coming game week, but still a lot of people have taken them. And Mitrovic, James, and Luis Diaz are all injured. So all the three in the top five transfers out makes sense. But uneven TA is also injured. So TA and Salah again, the Liverpool assets are not performing to their potential, and both of them being elite or high priced in their category, like them not resulting in points is affecting the owners a lot. So both of them have been dropped, and their prices also been dropped in the last few game weeks. So that's about the top five game week transfers. Let's now go into the individual games for this game week. The first game happens on a Friday, which is like between Brentford versus Brighton. Brighton won both these games last season with a clean sheet. Like they won 1-0 and 3-0 in one of the in the reverse fixture. So expect Brighton win like similar to last season, but the situation is little bit different. Brighton have got a new coach and uh, trying to adapt to their side. Brentford has started the season really well. They scored actually 15 goals in the first 6 games, but then after that they just scored one goal in the last three Premier League games. But then Brentford is going to have a good fixture, for the next till the World Cup break. So I expect that turnaround for Brentford will again happen in this game week. So I'm predicting a 2-0 win against Brighton because they are also playing at home where the record is like even more better this season, including a 4-0 win over Manchester United. I think that is the only game where United failed to score also. So with all those things, like I'm going against the recent trend, but like I'm expecting a 2-0 win for Brentford. And like if you see, Tony is the player like who has got maximum goals. Like he has got 6 goals and 2 assists in these 9 games. So like I'm going with the Tony, Raya and me mainly because of the clean sheet prediction. The next game of this game week is between Leicester and Crystal Palace. Leicester have considered 24 goals this season, but the interesting thing is like they have also scored in all the games except for one game, where they failed to score. And Crystal Palace also has scored goals in almost all the game except for 2 games. One of which was against the very first game week against Arsenal. So if you take the last 8 games, like they have scored in 7 games. So both Leicester and Crystal Palace are scoring goals like in all the games they are playing. In fact, Leicester has scored close to 15 goals, even though they have considered 24. So that being the thing, like I don't expect clean sheet in any of these games. And if you see the history, Leicester has won or drawn the last 6 games, where the scores are 2-1, 2-2, 2-1, 1-1, 3-0, and 2-0. Again, clear indication that there are a lot of goals in this game. So based on the current form and Leicester's current situation, like I am predicting a 1-2 loss for Leicester. Crystal Palace have played well in some of the games, but the results are not showing that. So I think like they will be in a much more uh, like they want to prove that like their performances are really good. So I expect them to get a result. They are just little bit above than Leicester, according to me, at the current situation. So I've gone for goal scorers, like I've gone for Madison and Zaka for sure, because the records also for this game, for this season, speaks about Madison with 5 goals and 2 assists, and Zaka with 4 goals and 1 assist. Eze is I scored 1+2, but like instead of this, if you want to take police, I'm okay with that also. Or like if you're sure Dhaka will start over Vardy, Dhaka is also a good differential you can take for his price. So I'm going with a 1-2 loss for Leicester. Let's see what happens. The next game of this game week is between Fulham and Bournemouth. Bournemouth hasn't scored in 5 of the 9 games they have played this season, whereas Fulham has failed to score only in one of the games. Like in the 9 games, they've scored in 8 games. Another interesting thing is like away team hasn't lost in the last 5 games they have played. In between like Fulham and Bournemouth, the last 5 games they have played, the away team hasn't lost once, even once. And Bournemouth hasn't failed to score against Fulham. only once in this century. Like after 2000, they didn't play for some time, but once they started playing, like Bournemouth has scored in all the games except for one. So with that being the thing, like I'm going for a 2-2 draw with a Mitrovic, like a game time risk, but if he starts, he'll definitely score in this game. So I'm going with Mitrovic and Tete from Fulham, and then I'm going for Billing. But like if you want, you can include Solanke also in this thing. So I'm predicting a 2-2. So don't take the defenders, but take the midfielders and the forwards whom you think you can, like they can score in this fixture. Next game is like between Wolves and Nottingham Forest. Nottingham has conceded 20 goals this season, so everybody would expect them to concede more. But they are playing against a team called the Wolves, like who have scored only 3 goals this entire season. They are the last in terms of number of goals scored. So very difficult, looking into their current injuries as well as their current form. Very difficult to expect them to score a goal in this game B. Also, the last 5 times, the team winning has resulted with them winning with a clean sheet in at least 4 of the last 5 times. So, out of Wolves and Nottinghamshire, I expect Nottinghamshire. Out of these two teams, the team which has more chance of scoring a goal is Notts. So, I'm expecting a 1-0 win for Nottingham Forest, but this can be a 0-0 draw also. The players I'm suggesting for this is like Sa, Anderson, and Johnson. Johnson or Avani are the only players who might score that goal, so I'm picking Johnson out of that just by my gut feeling. And then Sa and Anderson both will have a good game, and like if it results in 0-0, both will get a point with like some save points too. So that's why I've gone with the goalkeepers and Johnson as my three. Next in line is Tottenham with Everton. Everton are joint first in the number of goals conceded this season. They are like having 9 goals conceded so far. So they are top of that on the number of goals conceded. But they're also joint third from the bottom in the number of goals scored this season. So they are defensively good, but they are not scoring much. Again, they're yet to face a lot of difficult teams, but still, that's a start they are living with at the moment. Whereas on the other side, Tottenham has scored 20 goals this season. Even though Son took some time to get his form, he's scoring hat-trick in the Premier League in the past, and then recently in the Champions League also he scored twice. So he's slowly coming back to his form. But the biggest surprise this season is like Kane. So far has scored 8 goals this season. Kane very rarely starts well at the beginning of the season, so this being like an anomaly, Kane has actually delivered at the beginning of the season this year, and that is one of the reasons why Tottenham has scored 20 goals. And then the last 4 victories between the Tottenham and Everton, three have been won with a clean sheet, including Everton winning 1-0 and Spurs winning 1-0. So I'm also going with the same trend. Like based on current form, I expect Tottenham is the team which will score the goal. So I'm going for a Tottenham victory with a clean sheet. So it will be like a 2-0 win for Tottenham, with Kane and Son as like your usual two attacking picks. They've also gone for Dyer because he has a chance to get points both in the offense as well as in defense with a clean sheet, some set piece goal or something. So that's why I've taken Dyer as my third pick. The next 5 games starts with Aston Villa versus Chelsea. Chelsea normally a reliable team and from which you can take defenders because they keep a lot of clean sheets. But this season, Chelsea has failed to keep a clean sheet except for 2 games. So that all the remaining games they have conceded a goal. But they are playing against an Aston Villa side which has scored only 7 goals this season. Also, if you take by the past history, Chelsea has lost only once in the last 10 games. So against Aston Villa. So taking into all of this into the consideration, I'm expecting a 2-0 win for Chelsea with Auba, Chilwell, and Pulisic as the players whom I think might do a difference. Next game of the week is between Leeds United versus Arsenal. Arsenal has scored in all the games they have played this season, be it in Europa or in the Premier League. And then they have scored a minimum of 2 goals in at least 8 of the Premier League games. 4 times they've scored three times they've scored 2 goals, and one time they've scored 4 goals. And all these 8 games they have won. The only game where they scored less than 2 goals was against Manchester United, where they scored one and conceded three. That was the only match they have lost also. Arsenal also, if you take the history, they have lost to Leeds in 2002, 2003. And after that season, whatever be the tournament, the Carling Cup or the FA Cup or the Premier League, Arsenal have always drawn or defeated Leeds. So I expect that trend to continue this season also. So I'm expecting a 3-0 win for Arsenal. The players thinking is like Martinelli, Saka, and Saka because of their goals and assists performance so far. But you can also take Jesus also because after a few bad game weeks, I expect them to have a good game week in this game week level. Next game is between Manchester United and Newcastle. As I said at the beginning, except for the Brentford game where they lost 4-0, Manchester United scored in all the other 8 games they have played. And they are playing against a Newcastle team who have also scored 17 goals and are fourth in the highest number of goals scored by a team this season, just behind Arsenal, Tottenham, and Liverpool and City. Another interesting thing is in this picture, Manchester United has not lost in the last 5 Premier League games between these two teams. So taking all of this into consideration, I'm going for a 2-2 draw here with goals from Rashford, Wilson, and Anthony is what I'm expecting. So I've gone for a 2-2, but this could also be a 2-1, depending on who scores the goal first. So that is a prediction for the United and Newcastle game. The next game is between Southampton and West Ham. Southampton has failed to score in 4 of the 9 games this season, whereas West Ham United has scored just 3 goals in the first 7 games, but in the last 2 games they've started scoring. They have scored 5 goals. The performances in Conference League is also really good. So I expect the trend to continue for West Ham United. They will be scoring goals with the many players getting into form like Bowen and new players like Skamaka. Everybody are gelling into the team. I expect them to score more this game also. And Southampton, even though they have lost only once against West Ham in the last 5 Premier League fixtures, I expect them to lose this game too. So I'm going with a 0-2 prediction with goals, possibly the goals coming from Skamaka and Bowen, as well as clean sheet potential points for Dawson. The final game of this week is between Liverpool and Manchester City. Uh, if you see Holland's contribution this season, he has contributed 18 goals, 15 goals, and 3 assists so far from him. Only Arsenal, Tottenham, and Liverpool have scored more than him. And Liverpool has scored 20 goals. But if you take Arsenal game, Brighton game, and Bournemouth game, that contributes to nearly 14 goals. Which is a 9 goal game against 9-0 win against Bournemouth, 3-3 draw against Brighton, and a 2-3 loss against Arsenal. So the remaining 5 games, they just scored 6 goals only. And majority of the strikers, even though they have scored 7 goals in the recent Champions League game against Rangers, including a very quick fire hat-trick from Salah, I don't expect them to score goals in this fixture. On the other hand, City is going to attack and with the form Haaland, KDB, and Foden are in, I expect them to score more goals too. So I'm going with a 3-0 win for City, but this could also be a 3-1 victory for them. The players I'm asking or my choices for this game is Haaland, who has 15 goals and 3 assists. KDB, who has so far 1 goal and 9 assists this season. And then Foden, who has 6 goals and 3 assists. So these are the predictions for the games that is going to happen in this game week. And finally, my team for this game week, like no changes to whatever formation I played last game week, but there are some personal changes. Like instead of James, whom I've taken Dyer and he starts the game, and similarly instead of Mitrovic, I've taken Tony, so I'm starting him also. Like my bench is still the same, but then like I might do one team change depending upon like how things go tomorrow. Like I might move Andrea, and then I might bring Watkins to the bench. If I'm doing any change, I'll update in my Twitter so that like my 11 is like shared just before the game week starts. My team's current squad value is like 101.5, in which like in the bank I have like 0. 0.6. So this is going to be my team. My captain will be like Holland, and my vice captain most probably will be Tony. Thanks again for like patiently listening to my FPL tips. If you like this, please do subscribe to this channel and please like this video. Please share about this channel to your friends who plays FPL if you think this will help them out. Thanks again and have a nice game week. Uh, I'll be putting one more video for game week 12, like in the weekend or on Monday morning, and then like one more week in the middle of video in the middle of next week for game week 13 too. Thank you, everybody. Have a good FPL game week.